right. Well, we'll just jump in because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. And I know there's more people joining as we go. Well, welcome back. Thank you everyone for joining today. We're excited to be chatting. Today, we're going to talk bundles. So ticket bundles, like what do those look like? What works? What doesn't work? What's been really fun? What did you think was going to be great and fell on its face? We want to talk about the good, bad, and ugly for this because I think one of the things that at least I feel like I see as we come out of this is that we're going to have to continue to create great value for our customers to get them back into our buildings. And so that's going to be a key part of what we're doing. So if you are joining now, feel free to put your name into the chat. A couple other things, we're going to continue to do these every 2 weeks as we move forward. You'll see more and more of the recaps and videos going live on ticketplaybook.com. If you have a topic idea or question that you'd like to pose to the entire group, please send me those ideas. I'd love some help in creating some of these. And then last thing, he hasn't joined yet because he's finishing up another call. But when Emmanuel does join, I just want to quickly recognize the fact that today is actually the 10-year anniversary of the creation of Spinzo. So we've been around now for 10 years. I've been grateful to be a part of it for just shy of 5 years, but it's a pretty big day for us and we're really excited to celebrate that. So I'll be posting here in a little bit on my LinkedIn, but Emmanuel posted on our LinkedIn a video recapping where we've come from and where we are today. So thank you, Dan. But yeah, it's a big deal and we're really excited for it. So, all right, let's dive in. So I wanted to start, one of the clients that we work with that does a lot of really fun stuff is the Florida Everblades. And so I invited Katie and David from the Everblades to jump in and share some of the things that they do. Hi guys, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so I can show a few of those things too. Oh, there you go, close the blinds. You guys can unmute too, Katie. I'm gonna share my screen just to show a couple of the fun things that they do. And then if you guys wanna unmute and just chime in and talk about these promotions, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of just to backtrack, with our home schedule, we only play on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And so in the past, we've been known for our Wednesday nights. Usually we particularly gravitate towards the college students because we have $3 beers, wines, hot dogs all night long, as well as a $5 college student ticket. And then Saturdays, we kind of target it more towards the families. Typically on our Saturday games, we have a tailgate outside with a live band. We used to have bounce houses. We can't because of this year. And then usually we have like a food vendor out there with drinks, food, and whatnot. So we give that towards more like the family side for the fun side. So our Friday nights, in the past, they've usually lacked. We used to have a bottomless popcorn promotion. It was okay, but it really didn't help us drive any revenue in the long run. So we wanted to come up with a fun idea that kind of tailored towards everyone, the younger crowd, the older crowd, families, pretty much everyone. And so we wanted to make it something different, something fun, something special. And so our VP of business, Chris, he actually came up with the idea and said, hey, let's do something with our area code. So 239 is our area code down here in Southwest Florida. And going back and forth for, I don't even know how many months, we were just shooting back ideas of what we wanted to actually do with our 239 Fridays. And so what we finally came up with is 2 tickets for our Friday games, plus 2 of the featured items. And then this year we kind of threw in the autograph programs just as a bonus. And then you would get, I'm sorry, for $39. So last year was our first year doing it. And I think we averaged a little over 40 per night. So not a bad start. We actually got a lot of really good feedback from it. And then also last year, since it was our first year, we kind of based the seating depending on what the featured item was for the night. So obviously, if it was a higher priced item, they'd be sitting in like the lower level seats, or if it was a lower priced item, we'd be sitting them in our club level seats, which is kind of like the higher end seats. Obviously, we couldn't do that this year just with our social distancing and our limited capacity. So every single Friday this season, they're going to be sitting in our premium level seats, which are all center ice seats. And then, yeah, as you can see, I do have all of the featured items there for the night. So we try to change it up a little bit from last year, try to incorporate new things. A couple of the featured items, we tried to target more because we just came out with our promotional schedule, thankfully. So some of those featured items are kind of geared towards our promotional nights. Like I know we have on there, one of our nights is beach night. And so we're doing coconut rum buckets. So we try to incorporate our 239 package with our promotional night for that night too. So this year we've only had 3 239 Fridays. So I just finished the rest, but out of those 3 nights, we're averaging about 92 tickets per night, which is a huge increase from last year. And so as to this year, we're getting a lot of good feedback. And then a couple of things that, we wanted to change for this season was we wanted to know where they were hearing about our 239 Fridays, whether if it was from social media, from our website, or just from like a family friend. So we put in a required question. Oh, does that not one have it?
No, this is a new one. Sorry, Katie. I killed our flow. Let me go back to an earlier one here.
So once I can pull those reports and I can see, all the answers of where everyone's been hearing about these nights, it's really helpful for our marketing team too, to see, what's working for us, what's not working for us. So that was a great addition. Actually, Adam, who's our director of marketing, suggested that. So really good feedback from that. And then in addition to the 239 package, what we did this year is we got feedback from our season ticket holders and said, why can't I have the item as well too? Why do I have to purchase a seat in order to get the item of the night? So not really successful yet, but it will get there in the future. So we kind of we added a new Spinzo page just for our season ticket holders, so they're able to get that discounted feature item of the 239 night. So both really good suggestions that we had in the off season, and hopefully the season ticket holder one can start growing here soon. But I mean, this has been really fun for us to sell. It's been fun for our marketing team to be able to get that out there as well too. And I think this is something that is going to grow in the future. And then, eventually people are going to recognize, Wednesday nights was our hump day deals. Friday, 239. And then Saturday is a tailgate. So that's our goal in the end, is to be able for people to, recognize, what we're trying to grow for our Friday nights too. So that's a little bit from background for the 239 side. If you want David to answer anything about the marketing side, he's got everything for you too. They've done a really, really, really great job as to getting the 239 information out there this year.
Quick question for you guys. So some of these nights you guys are partnering with your partners too, like say Molly Moose, or some of those are key partners. So you're getting them added exposure through these nights. Is that correct?
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Any questions? I just think that their idea is super creative. I know your area code may not work for where you are, depending on what your area code is. But I think the concept of the fact that they took these Friday nights, and you saw there were some that were ice cream, there were some that were more adult focused, like Labatt Blue or the rum buckets. I'm curious how big the bucket is. That's what I want to know. But
it's like a decent size cup, yeah.
There you go. So they've really kind of targeted this across a lot of different audiences, and they're super creative and super different. So there's always something coming out that's really different. I guess like both you, David and Katie, like which ones have you seen? I know we've had some last year and then some start to this year. Which ones have gained the most interest?
I think more of like the higher price items probably too, like more like our alcohol, the rum buckets, Labatt Blues. I think just because they're getting it at an even discounted price, like even more than originally too. So we've seen, last week, I don't know if you saw the candy, even the popcorn too. It showed on your side 176, but we actually finished with I think 192. So even the candy and the popcorn for probably the kids too, but more of like the alcohol too, just because it's so cheap and so discounted.
And just for everyone's knowledge, on their back end too, they are splicing out the portion for the ticket and the portion that's covering the cost of the item. So, and that varies based on what the item is, the hard cost of the item is. So anyone else have questions for the Everblades on some of their ideas? Go ahead, Ray, jump in.
So, Katie, first of all, I have to ask, did you have like one of the players certify the poutine is good?
No, we didn't, but I've heard good things about our poutine. So
I'm sorry, Florida poutine. I'm not sure it has that much street cred. But I'll take your word for it. The next question is that exactly how do you do fulfillment? Is there a separate ticket that's generated? Is it an electronic ticket, or walk me through the purchase to experience?
Yeah, great question. So the purchasers will actually have like their Spinzo ticket. And then what we do is they have to come pick up separate vouchers the day of the game inside of the arena at one of our sales tables. So actually, that was another thing that we switched up. Originally, they picked it up at the box office, but now we're kind of gearing them towards going to a sales table so we can kind of meet these people face to face. And if they wanted any information on like other group tickets or season tickets, they can get that information as well too. So they had a separate voucher for our autograph programs, and then a separate voucher for the featured item like the food or the drinks. And it actually on the voucher says, hey, you know, for your rum buckets, go to this stanchion behind section 106, or this voucher for the candy and the popcorn, you can go to any concession stand in the arena. So it kind of gave them directions to where they're able to get that item. But yeah, we wanted the people to come to our tables just so we can see them face to face and just answer any questions that they may have.
Now, is there a separate barcode or QR code on the ticket for the fulfillment?
No, there's not. Nope.
So but through Spinzo, if you are a Ticketmaster Artix client, and I'll show you an example, we can actually, so they've chosen not to do this, but we can actually barcode. So for example, we work with the Carolina Hurricanes, and in this case, they sell a Star Wars night, and their Star Wars night includes a ticket, a t-shirt, and a donation. And so on the back end of our system, when we go, while the buyer sees the exact price as $125.83, this crazy price, we're actually splicing that out and putting the shirt event on there. So then this is barcoded, this shirt event. And so when the buyer goes on to get their tickets, they've got their ticket and also their t-shirt voucher. And because they have a scanner at the table, they can go ahead and take that scan. You can choose to put money on this if you want and slice it up, or you can choose to not do it. We have clients that do it that other way. So that is a functionality that we have. They've just chosen not to do it that way. So yeah, there's a lot of options to do that. And I know that the days of, you know, some teams, it is very difficult to do tables. Whereas, you know, in their arena, it's a little bit more impactful for them to have that one-on-one conversation. Other questions for Katie and David initially? No? Awesome. Well, I'm sure we'll come back to you guys because there's other conversations and bundles we want to talk about, but I'll jump in and maybe share a couple of the things that we've seen from the Spinzo side that have been really effective in addition to what Katie and David have been doing down there. This is one example that I think is really impactful. And I think what makes this night, you know, impactful is that there is that donation component. I think being able to take a big theme night and tying it to something that is a good cause is always a good thing. So this package includes a t-shirt, a ticket, and a donation. So not only are they getting something for themselves, but they can realize that they're a part of this bigger group that's actually donating a substantial amount of money to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So they worked directly with a couple of their major group leaders on this and chose where they wanted to spend the money or where they wanted to send the money, and that's what they chose. So I think this is a really cool example. Staying on the Hurricanes, here was another idea. They did some, and I know the Red Wings do this as well, and there's a number of other teams that do this too, but they came up with branded hats. And so the one year they did more the baseball cap, the other year they did this more like snow cap, if you will. I don't know what you call. There's lots of different names for this, but a beanie hat with a little pop. So this was really impactful because it was branded specifically to each one of those universities, and you can see they sold out of the co-branded one for the Duke game. But again, anything that can speak directly to that group is really, really impactful. One of the other ideas was a Greek night that we did with the Milwaukee Bucks. So this was an example of, they had a t-shirt and a bobblehead. So you got a lot for your money here. And this is obviously a huge draw for Milwaukee and did very, very well. And it was sold out very fast. They came into, and this is if you, I don't think Carl's on here, but you'll say, if you'll if you ask Carl about this night, he'll tell you there were people coming just to buy tickets for this night, just to get the bobblehead. So that's why they said that you must be present to claim. We're not shipping bobbleheads because they had people from all over trying to buy this just to get the bobblehead and then wanted it mailed. So if you can capitalize on something that's really effective like that with a bobblehead, that's always something that can be a great thing. Another idea, this was the Carolina Stingrays. They ended up doing a package of 4 tickets and 4 t-shirts. So again, knowing that you can package things through a platform and be able to showcase that package price, you'll see here, very simple. It was the package and you could see a variation on Star Wars and the Stingrays, but it was a full package, completed everything all in one purchase. Another example, just another branded type hat here to be able to showcase for a Catholic night with the Anaheim Ducks. So very specific hat that they had, and they only had a certain number of these hats. So they used a way to count down to the hat and showcase that urgency. So if you are in this situation where you're buying promotional items for something, being able to showcase, hey, we only have X amount of them, even if you're going to allocate a certain amount for sponsors and you're only going to allocate a certain amount for group buyers, creating that urgency in some way will really help drive people getting excited about the fact that, hey, if I'm going to go to this game, I might as well buy it when I'm going to get something extra and not just buy it when I'm just going to get the ticket. So I think that's also another creative feature. This was a really creative one with the Arizona Coyotes. So they had a partnership with Uber, and I'm sure, a lot of our teams have partnerships with Uber or Lyft or some sort of platform. But if you partner that with an alcohol partner, it's kind of a happy marriage, right? So this was a full package that included 2 tickets, 2 beers, and a round trip on an Uber up to a certain percentage, or a certain dollar amount. So again, being creative in the way that you go out and work with your sponsors and other partners to create these packages that are really, they really serve your buyers. They also did one, and I didn't pull up the example, where they partnered with a casino, where the casino would invite their members to come to the game, but they would offer a bus. So you could buy the bus pass and the ticket to go to the game. So you would get picked up at the casino and dropped back off at the casino. I mean, that's a win-win for a casino, right? The more times people are in front of their slot machines, the better off they are. But that's also a win for the team. So just a couple of great examples that I saw on our platform. So with that, I'll open it up to other people. If anybody has any other ideas that they want to share.
I had a question, Denise. I was going to bring it up earlier, but I didn't know if it applied, because it seemed like for the Everglades, they have a great relationship with the venue. We're still fairly new, and I wondered if anybody else has that. I wouldn't call it an issue, but it's just not as easy to include food at the venue and stuff like that. Or if maybe someone kind of started like us and the relationships improved, how were you able to kind of secure those items for a bundle? If that makes sense. Yeah,
no, it's a great question. Anyone else have trouble with venue? Or Kate, I guess Katie and David, you guys own the venue too, correct? So it's all one happy family?
Yeah.
Okay. So does anybody have any challenges? Have they worked through that or been able to figure out ways to make that happen?
No worries. We always keep it top of mind. It's you just put it out to the group, and if they have an answer, they have an answer. But I mean, it's definitely doable. It's just, they have their goals that they have to meet and prices that they need to sell it by. And so it always seems to be a bigger hassle than it should be, really.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's definitely it's a challenge. We had that challenge in Atlanta. I know when I was at the Hawks and Thrashers, and it was just continuing to build that relationship. So we eventually got to the point where we had a beer festival, but it was all local brewers. So it was all these small craft brewers that none of them were carried by our current vendor. So we actually negotiated the option where our vendor at the time, I think it was Levy, bought the beer directly from the craft brewers. And then if we didn't sell it all based on the festival that we had, they would be able to return it back to the brewers, and they would be the differential. But then we also negotiated in that thing that because we had all the people that attended the festival were voting for their favorite beer, and the favorite beer eventually got carried in one of the restaurants in the arena on tap for the last part of the season. So it was like a 6-week window where that way that the vendor only had to buy a certain number of kegs or a certain number of opportunity of the beer, or casing of the beer, I guess. I'm not speaking in appropriate terms, but you get what I'm saying. That way it was like this big win and big excitement, but that took us, I would say, 1.5 years to get that far with the vendor on that. So I think you just have to keep building that relationship. And I think, even if you can offer things more at full price, but insulate them in some way with your ticket and another item. I know I was talking to Justin Dunn, who leads up group sales at the LA Clippers, and he was talking about how, if I go to a promotional partner and I can buy a hat for $1, but the perceived value of it's 15. So how can you insulate things like that where you can't get a cut on the food and beverage, that you can create this value in this package that has a huge amount of value, but then that way you're still paying where you need to pay, and people still think that they're getting something really great.
Yeah, even your beer idea was great, because it's something that we've been thinking about locally. Like we might be up against gathering restrictions still where we live, but it could always be something like a delivery as well. So
Yep.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Denise.
Absolutely. Bree, do you want to speak? I have your example ready to go if you want to talk.
Yeah, I'll touch on it. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you okay. I'm going to share my screen so you can talk through this is it. Yep, this is it. Go ahead.
This is the one. So in 2019, we utilized our full field flag. Oh, by the way, this is Bree. I'm with the Indianapolis Colts. So we utilized one of our full field flag experiences for a local, it's a hospital chain, essentially, community health network. I worked with their director of nursing to get 350 of their nurses and their families down on the field to hold the flag with us. We had done in 2018 an initiative for healthcare workers where we included a scrub top with a Colts logo on it. And then we actually had leftovers, and my contact was like, these are so cool. Can we order more of them and include them in the ticket? So what we did was included a few different price points here on locations, and then looped in the price of the scrub top with that. So they made it required to purchase the scrub top and the experience because they wanted everyone to look uniform, which I appreciate. But when we did the initiative in 2018, that was just kind of if you work in healthcare and you like the Colts and you want to come to a game and get a scrub top, you can. But this one, we did the full field flag experience with it, and then they got their scrub top when they came to the game.
So you distributed everything when they came to the game, and then were they able to choose their own sizing? So did you guys order after you knew the sizes, or did you estimate and then just kind of backfill?
So what we did was we shut this link down a little bit earlier than we typically would, specifically with the scrub tops. We set a certain date of, if you want to be guaranteed to get your size, get your order in by this date. If not, we kind of guessed from there and used the extra that we had from 2018. It all ended up working out really well, but we have a rehearsal for our full field flag experience the morning of the game that's mandatory for everyone involved. So they were all at the stadium super early, which gave us time to pass them out actually on game day. And then everyone had them before the experience.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know that's a big challenge.
Yeah, and we didn't want to mail them.
No, you don't have time for that. Any questions for Bree on that example? Thank you for bringing that one up, Bree. What other ideas or what other things have you guys done that have worked really well in your marketplace, or things that you're like, hey, we're thinking about this. Has anyone else done it? What else are people bundling with their tickets?
Hi, so it's Nicole with the New England Revolution.
Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Long time no talk.
I know. So similar to Bree, it made me think of our Heritage Nights that we did in 2019. So we actually bundled the first 150 tickets with a post-game autograph, so more of an experience. And that actually went over really, really well. And they were able to sell through those first 150 really, really quickly. The biggest challenge was once they sold that 150, getting the communication that it was sold out. So I think, Spinzo can certainly help with that, with the way you can do experiences. But that was a huge bundle for us. And a lot of the bundles we do is more experience than sort of tangible items.
So do you guys upcharge for that? Were you charging something different for those first 150 tickets than what you did for the ones that were just straight game tickets?
We actually didn't. We charged the same price. It just happened to be the first come, first serve, and you got the post game autograph. In hindsight, we probably could have. It was the first year we tried it, but yeah, it was the same price.
Yeah, I'd be curious, like, is anybody charging? Because I feel like group experiences, most often we just put them out there and say, okay, hey, if you're the first 150, to your point, Nicole, you get access to this, or hey, when you reach a certain threshold, you get this. Is anybody charging and bundling their group experiences and charging a little bit more for that? No. I'd just be curious as our costs go up to handle these experiences, and this is just
Denise, we're not doing that, but we're talking every day about how we do it, if that helps the conversation.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because I think our costs are going to change to be able to handle these experiences, whether that means we need more people, we need more, security, all of these things is in our post-COVID world. It'd be interesting to see if that's where we end up going, where we do charge, even if it's a couple dollars. I mean, what's that impact to your overall business in the way that you want to generate revenue versus not? We charge more when people come by day a game. So why wouldn't we maybe charge a little bit more? Ray, did you have a comment on that?
Well, yeah, some of you that are familiar with what we did at Northwestern in previous seasons is that we have very limited inventory for fan experiences on football game day. We've got one national anthem, we've got one flag. And so in terms of accommodating fan experiences for football game day, we can only accommodate a couple hundred people, maybe 300 tops. The rest of it has to be creative, either off the premises or in another day. And we've had very, very, very good success bundling fan experiences around our Olympic sports, and then folding that in with a football ticket. So if you're in collegiate sports, you can have a scout troop come out and do the color guard, have a tailgate at a baseball game, great time, whatever, and then they've already bought their ticket for Scout Day. And we haven't exploited that as much as we would like. And right now, the state of Illinois is still not letting us bring people into outdoor stadiums. So I honestly don't know when all of this is going to happen, but Denise can help a great deal, because the sales automation process gives you that opportunity to sell tickets very, very quickly through the existing business and social networks, because I'm thinking that I'm not going to be able to even approach groups until July, and kickoff September 4th. I mean, that's just crazy town. Yeah. And so if you can link the other experiences off premises and fold your ticket into that, that's one way to keep people engaged. But we're looking to do that with national anthem groups. We're looking to do that with other performance groups, because we just don't have the bandwidth at football right now. If what read in the Tribune, we're going to only be allowed to have 10,000 season ticket holders, 10,000 people in our stadium, and we've got way more than that in terms of season tickets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey Ray, I'm gonna jump in. Sorry, Denise, let me jump in.
No, go for it.
Joe from the New England Revolution as well. We're in a very similar situation, Ray. So I don't want to say I'm with you. It is what it is at this point. But we've discussed. We have a large part of our business that's youth organizations, and a lot of the amenities that we do with them is playing on the field, setting up tournaments, shooting on the goal. So we already do some stuff off game day. So instead of just being off site, just off date or off game day. So having them come and use the field separately. It's not really a field rental per se and taking in revenue that way, but just tying it in like you said. So it's a ticket maybe on the Saturday, but they come on the Wednesday night to play an hour on the field. We're really interested, like we're still at the point where we can't even use the field off a game day, even though other fields in the state are being used for the exact same thing that we would do on the field. But when we can, that's one of our first ways back, is we're going to look at bringing in revenue through groups by bringing in, whether it's games on the field, we're going to try and do those on a off game day and then offer them a ticket voucher that they can then use hopefully within the season once we get some inventory.
Yeah, that's great, Joe. You know, we have our practice field is on Lake Michigan, and the south end zone of our practice field looks over the Chicago skyline. So I want you to imagine that you're a 12-year-old youth football player and you're playing at Hutchison Field and you're kicking a field goal into the Chicago skyline. And it's an unobstructed view of the Chicago skyline. And to your east is Lake Michigan with sailboats. It's breathtaking. And we have the same experience that we fold in with youth lacrosse and soccer. We're trying to take an asymmetric approach where we provide Olympic sport programming at the football game, because as much as our kids that love soccer, there's no bandwidth that's available to them on football game day. And just like we can't even do high five tunnels right now in terms of risk management. So what other programming is going to be available on football game day for lacrosse fans, for soccer fans, for softball fans? Because I've worked closely with these student athletes. I worked for risk management all summer long and into the winter as a non-clinical COVID tester, and I did 7,000 tests. A lot of them were student athletes. And so these are really great people, and finding ways for them to be accessible. And if you're in college sports, you absolutely, positively have to find ways to engage your Olympic athletes around your revenue sports, men's basketball, women's basketball, and football. If you're not, you're missing an opportunity, because these are marvelous people.
Absolutely. Has anyone done any bundling with, say, to your point of like not tied into the game? So I know, like, you know, you can bundle, get a t-shirt, pick it up at the game, but has anyone bundled things with outside venues? Like, say, I'm even thinking of you, Brian, because you're more in the amusement realm, like, you know, being able to partner with like an amusement park or something. Adam, do you have an example?
Yeah, so I currently work for the Golden State Warriors, and it's not really applicable to where I work right now, but in my previous role with the Minnesota Wild, they do a really cool series called Made in Minnesota Night. And what they do is they partner with local Minnesota nonprofits that through their product or whatever you purchase gives back to the community. So it could be like a company that if you buy their socks, they give a separate pair of socks to a local homeless agency or something like that. And they were really, really successful. It was also how they introduced Love Your Melon. And for the Minnesota Wild, I will post their series. I think they're actually planning on doing 2 events this year with the limited fans that they might have access to. So I'll post it in the group chat. But it was a really, really cool series, because you kind of use the awareness of these outside brands, and you're also impacting your local community. So it was a really good story for the Wild to tell. Also, the other organizations have great awareness already, so it was a really easy kind of hand-in-hand ticket pack. And they had some really cool items, like you know, one I think that they had was a carved wooden thing that looked like the state of Minnesota, and it was a beer bottle opener. The next was like I said, a pack of socks. Then we had Love Your Melon and a whole bunch of cool different variety of things. So it really was applicable to a wide variety of people depending on the night that you wanted to attend as well.
That's really cool. I love how it's like ties right back into the community. So you can almost get, you know, community relations involved. There's really an opportunity to get so many people involved in that. And I think the more unique something is that the people get without it being way off the beaten path is a win. So very cool. Lindsay, I saw your video come on. Are you jumping in, or are you just turning on your video?
I am jumping in. I have a
Awesome.
question. Excuse me. I'm Lindsay. I'm with the Nashville Soccer Club, so the newest MLS team in the South, and we are, well, I have a question. So we're a big convention town. We have tons of conventions come in, and we have a good relationship with the Nashville Convention and Visitors Bureau. And one thing I'd started with them last year is just getting a working relationship to them where they'll give us the contacts of these conventions coming in. And if there's a home game that would overlap, then we would try to be able to send out a FIVO link or, some sort of ticket bundle to where, they could, at night of the convention when they might not have anything to do and they don't want to like hit the bars in Nashville or whatever, they could go to a home game. And so I was wondering if anybody's ever done that kind of bundle or worked with conventions coming in town or big events to do some sort of bundle with one of your games and the event.
Yeah, great question.
I can touch on this quickly. Hi, Lindsay, I'm Bree. So Indianapolis is also a huge convention city. So we've worked with a couple of them before. A big one is like Jam Fest, the like cheer and dance. So we created a ticket offer for them through our junior cheer program. And essentially they got a discounted ticket and it was sent out before they were going to be in Indianapolis because the dates lined up like you had mentioned. Another we have is oh gosh, the band one. It's huge.
GCI.
It's like I want to say Bands of America, but that doesn't sound right.
Drum Corps International.
No, I don't know what it is.
My brother was in that and he played at this Colts stadium. That's the only reason I know that.
You know what? It might be. I don't even know. But we have so many events come in and out of Lucas Oil Stadium and we don't own the stadium. So it's always connected to the convention center. So we tried to get in touch with them because we had a game that Sunday, but their like loadout time was Saturday. So that didn't line up really well. I think if we would have had a little bit more time to market it, get it out, etc., then people could have stuck around. So yeah, we've tried to do some similar things. I think the hard part is getting it out in time, if that makes sense.
I think it'd be interesting, Lindsay, because you live in, like, I think of Nashville as a really iconic town. Like, people come there and they get really excited. So if there was something that is speaks to Nashville that people could leave with, so they not only get a ticket to your game, but they're almost to what Adam's point of what the Wild are doing. If there's a way to leave them with something that's really cool from Nashville, I know you can't give them cowboy boots, but like, what could you do that would be really like, kind of intrinsic to Nashville that they would have as a keepsake to remember that time.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Again, not battle tested, but hi Brian. Hi Brian's little girl.
Lindsay, I can add something else as well. Maybe similar, it's just something's coming into town at the convention center. But previously I'd worked with Hasbro and they're hosting kind of like the Scrabble tournament. So what they did is for all the participants, Hasbro basically bought the ticket for all the participants. And then obviously we had a group ticket add-on for anyone else that wanted to come. And part of the deal was using the game post-game. So all the participants got to go on the field, do a big group photo, and then they kind of had their own like separate, I'll say, trophy ceremony on the field after the game as part of it.
That's cool. Good idea.
I like the Scrabble tournament with Hasbro. That's a great idea. Very cool. But I think of convention people, they're coming into your market more often than not. Some of them have probably been there, but it's a unique trip to your marketplace. So if you can leave them with something that speaks to your market, that can be really cool.
Yeah, I have a question. Rachel Turner, I'm over with UNLV Athletics, so another collegiate athletics market here. Has anybody partnered with youth tournaments that come to town, or baseball, soccer, anything like that? Do you have specific packages that you do with those types of events?
I'm sure there's a lot of people that have. Nicole, jump in.
Yeah, so tournaments are big for us, especially Memorial Day. So when the MLS is developing the schedule, we usually try to get games on that weekend, if possible, if the stadium's not already booked by another event. But some of our big ones, basically the tournament pre-purchases, say 2,000 tickets, and we offer a kickback to each one of those tickets. So the teams that come in, The tournament will give us a list of coaches that are attending the tournament, and we'll basically call them all and try to get their teams to come out that night. And if they purchase before a certain date, we offer them schedule protection. So we'll guarantee they won't have a game, a scheduled game of a tournament game during the Revs game, so they can come out. And usually it's a great sort of fundraiser and revenue generating program for the tournament, because they end up making a lot off of it. The tournaments we do, they end up selling more than what they pre-purchase, so they're getting that kickback for all those tickets, which is huge. But if you have any questions, let us know. We can walk you through the whole program and how we do it. But the biggest part is just getting their okay to give all the coaches numbers, because that's a big aspect of going out and just calling the coaches and getting them to come.
Right. Yeah. I've prospected, like doing it myself online, and it's tasking. But do you do any items with those tickets at all? Any t-shirts, any hats, anything like that?
No, it's literally just schedule protection. And then we usually give them field time, either the morning before the game or the next day. But usually it's full field, and they only use it for about 4 or 5 games. So there's only so many teams that get the field. But that's sort of amenity for them. But as far as added sort of swag items, we don't include anything.
We've done that before at Nashville SC, and one thing that was really helpful was getting an image created in Canva or something where you can create an image with, you know, the tournament branding, our branding, and the club teams were willing to link it directly on their website on the tournament page to getting tickets, just because they were going to be getting a kickback. They were really willing to do that. And so as soon as people, you know, went to the tournament page for the tournament, they could see a link to get tickets for NSC and all that information. They were willing to do that for us since they were going to get money back.
Other questions for the group or other ideas that have worked well, or some that maybe haven't worked well? Hey, we put this together, and I'll be honest, it didn't go well, because that's okay. We all learn from that too.
Hey, Denise, it's David down here with Everblades.
Hey, David.
Just a quick thought that I had after Nicole was going for it and trying to find different ways to package in inventory that may not be specifically related to concessions or merchandise. I don't know if any of you have tried to do where you package tickets together along with like a Zoom call with a member of the team, somebody in the front office, something that kind of gives the fans and maybe even the season ticket holders a more exclusive opportunity to talk to the players in the front office that they wouldn't normally have access to even in a normal season as well. So that could definitely be something. I know it could get a little bit weird, especially in the collegiate landscape with all the different rules and laws put in place by the NCAA about that. But just wasn't sure if anybody's has ever done that, and if so, if it's worked out well.
Anybody tried that with any sort of exclusive access?
It wouldn't really tie in necessarily to like a group purchase for us, but with the Warriors, one thing that we've been doing with our season ticket holders, we now have an experience called Dub Hub. So we've got about 120 to 150 virtual fans in the building any given night. And with the Dub Hub experience, we're recognizing our season ticket holder of the game. And one of the experiences that they're getting with our national broadcasting is actually to be able to tune in and ask one of our players a post-game question as the interview process. It gives them a really unique access to a player, but it's also really cool as the announcers get really into it, like what's our season ticket holder thinking now, that kind of stuff. So it's been a huge hit for that. Maybe there's a way that now that media is changing their relationships and how they can engage with players, and there's more international media, there might be a way for you to build in a media question for a group purchase or something like that to get that access.
You could, I mean, even in game, you could almost do that too. So, you know, depending on how, you know, I know in hockey, like you usually do the 3 stars. So, you know, maybe there's a way that an in-game host can bring a mic to a group leader or someone from a group to ask a question of the player that won, you know. There's lots of, I like that. I think that's a really interesting thing where, I mean, granted, there is some risk. Things could go awry when you give someone a live mic. That's always a, you know, a little bit of a scary situation, but there could be an opportunity that could be really cool. Thanks for sharing that, Adam. Other ideas or questions for the group? about bundling things and ideas, promotional items?
Yeah, hi Denise. This is Eric Wolgard with the Chicago Steel hockey team. Just a question for the group. Has anybody had any good success targeting the corporate market with bundling or packages?
I think, Bree's example of the scrubs with, that's more the healthcare market, but to your point, I guess a great question, like what about corporate market? Has anyone done anything with like unique portfolios or pens? Christina, do you have an idea or a concept?
Yeah, so we've done a corporate package that we've offered. It's not really available online for purchase, but it's something our reps use when they're targeting businesses, and we'll see what it looks like coming out of COVID. But it was a ticket, and then included was a dinner in advance of the game that included a buffet in one of our premium locations. And then they could add on different beverage packages as well, allowing them 1, 2, or unlimited beverages before the game as well, in addition to the food. And then we would include a Nuggets baseball hat as well for each person who attended. So it was a great way to really increase our ATP because it was a very high valued package. And it was wildly successful. I mean, we probably sold easily over 100 grand with those tickets and that corporate package. So when it was an easy sale, because pretty much the company would pay for that up front. So it was kind of one and done. Again, we didn't use a link typically to do that. And we work with Legends for our food and beverage, and they were great in working with us. We just had to cap based on the capacity of the restaurant, but it was very successful on our end, and hopefully we can still do something similar. The buffet was great because we've done it before as well, kind of similar pairing dinners. So we would work with sponsorship or Legends to highlight one of our vendors, whether it was a winery that we work with or something like that, and they would get 3 beverages and then the buffet as well. We had done it before where it was plated in previous seasons, but with people arriving on a rolling basis, it was hard to really do a seated plated meal. So that was kind of similar with the buffet, but as people arrived, they could get their meals and then they would have access to the 2 or 3 beverages that were included for that pairing as well. So both of those were very successful for us. And sorry, I didn't mention I'm Christina with the Denver Nuggets. So that's what we did at our arena.
It's really cool. It's almost like would you like fries with it? It's that add-on. It's, the more, if you say that, well, you can just buy the tickets, or you can buy the tickets in the buffet, or you can buy the tickets in the buffet and 2 drinks, or if you really want to take care of your employees, you give them unlimited drinks, right?
Exactly. So I think having those different package options based on budget and based on the experience they were trying to create, and, if they were trying to take care of clients or employees or whatever it may have been. So it was definitely an upscale experience. I mean, these packages were probably $100 to $150 depending on the game rank, but definitely a lot of interest. And there were a number of games where we actually sold out and didn't have any spots available because of the limited capacity. So and it did also move tickets on our club level, which tends to be a difficult seat to sell where we do have some inventory. So that was also helpful.
Great.
Denise, I'll kind of roll off that as well.
Yeah.
So before last season, we ended up not being able to use it in 2020, but it's something we're hoping to kind of bring back in 2021. We have a space in our stadium. It's called the Bud Light Party Zone, and it's basically just a big general admission area where in-game people can walk around. It's just a general admission thing, so anyone in the stadium can walk through. There's standing tables, food vendors, etc. up there. And so we were thinking, how can we utilize this space more pregame? So we ended up putting together a handful of packages where companies could utilize that space pregame. It's right in front of our big window that overlooks downtown Indianapolis. So it's a great view. The only thing is you have to be there before gates open. So it's a couple hours before pregame. But we had like a brunch menu, a lunch menu, different package, kind of like Christina mentioned, like different packages based on what you wanted to do. It's unfortunately, we didn't get used last year, but it's something we're looking into this year. So just trying to utilize the spaces that we have. And I think this year, since we're not going to be able to, well, fingers crossed, but I don't think we're going to be able to do many on-field experiences again this year. So just trying to figure out how to drive value in different areas that are kind of hidden gems.
Yeah, great point. Has anyone done like promotional items that have gone well with corporate? Because one of the things that I'm thinking about right now is that we've all been shifted to work from home. So like, what are the things that we don't have in our home office that we normally have in our everyday office that could be a promotional item that we could give them? You know, so is there something that we could, you know, we could do that would actually be used? Because I think there's those novelty items. There's in my world, there's a lot of junk, you know, that we get from promotional items. And then there's those things that you actually really use and you're like, wow, this was a really great thing. I'm glad I had this. Go, Josh.
Yeah, so this is more on the sales side, season side, but we do a mini flex plane with ticket vouchers that come with a Pirates blanket. All right, my name is Josh. I work with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sorry, I didn't say that. But that's something everyone uses as a blanket, especially during the wintertime. And with Valentine's Day that recently happened, we released a special package where it was, 10 tickets. So you can do 5 games with 2 tickets each, or 10 ticket vouchers, 5 date nights, and you get a free Pirates blanket. So we do a good job, incorporating giveaways with a lot of our promotions, such as the blanket. And that was a big sale for a lot of us. We've also done water bottles as well, packaging them with different promotions, coupons to different convenience stores. And then we also have a packaged Miller Lite Great Taste package that's right near one of our hospitality areas, the Miller Lite Skull Bar. It's a $20 ticket and comes with $9 of food and beverage credit that essentially buys your first alcoholic beverage at the Skull Bar, which is right in right field. The reason why this is a great marketing tool is because where the hospitality area is situated in right field, the seats right there, since it's so far out, we don't really utilize that space. So that's where we offer the $20 ticket to get more folks in that seat, and then more traffic into the hospitality area to buy a Miller Lite beverage.
Thank you, Josh. Other ideas or questions for the group? I think there's been a lot of good stuff thrown around today. I love it. You can always count on all of you guys. Well, if there's nothing else, we can break a few minutes early. As always, if you have an idea or a question that you want to be posed to the entire group, or multiple questions, please send them my way. I'd love some additional ideas. But thank you, everyone, and thank you to Katie and David for leading us off and sharing all the creative things that they're doing down there in Florida. And we will talk again soon, guys. Thank you. Have a great day. Appreciate all of you.
Bye, Denise. Thank you.
Bye-bye.